Dave Palumbo here for RxMuscle.com. I'm here with Chris Cormier and the technician Chris Aceto. We're at the 2018 Mr. Olympia press conference, guys. This is the beginning of the weekend. It just let out. What do you think the theme was of the press conference? Chris, you had a lot of commentary during the event.
Well, I mean, I'm just listening to some of these guys and just wondering, like, you know, some of them went the route of trying to be like, you know, coach aesthetic. Someone went the route of being like, you know, aggressive, talking crazy, whatever they want to do.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone worked hard. You know, they all think they're going to win or think they got a good shot of being in the top 5 or whatever. A lot of them not going to make it. A lot of them don't even look like they think they look. But
as a former Olympian, how did you feel about the tone of the press conference?
I mean, some of it was okay. Some of the guys are all right. You know, then a lot of guys, they like to grab the mic and, you know, talk a little long for what I want to do.
Too much?
A little bit. But, you know, at the end of the day, some of the guys that had something to say, you know, I liked a little bit of laughter, a little bit of, you know, a little something like that, have a good time with it. Talk a little smack, but at the end of the day, I think some of the guys they're pretty well.
Chris, who did you like the best up in the Who was the best? Who gave the best speech and why?
You know, in a sea of, I don't know who gave the best speech because it was like the gutterization of bodybuilding. I think it's time to scrap the press conference because it's a way to exploit people's, you know, ill feelings towards each other. I think people come in and, you know, they're emotional and, you know, instead of encouraging people to say good things, the hosts are encouraging them to talk shit and say bad things about them. You know, I mean, if someone came up to, you know, if you put a microphone in someone's mouth, in front of someone's mouth, and you know they're under a tremendous amount of pressure, and you encourage them to talk badly, they're going to talk badly. And I don't think there's any benefit. I mean, I came out of the press conference, I don't know about you and Chris, but with just a shitty feeling about the whole event.
We saw Nathan Diasha, you know, screaming at guys up there. We saw William Bonac yell at Cedric. We saw a lot of people.
I like William because William's a real motherfucker, man. He's real. So
yeah.
he keep it real 100. You know exactly how you feel. 100%. Yeah, you go away.
There's no filter.
None. And, you know, I know where he come from. And the thing is though, William came from a rough living situation. And he's the man who he is today, and that's the person he is. But he's real. Like, everyone's been through stuff. I got ready for competitions when my best friend got shot 8 times. You know, and I still got to get ready for competition. Sure. But I didn't like go to the show and be like, you know, whatever. But everyone go through stuff.
Does Phil look confident?
I think of course Phil's confident. He's never been beaten here, so you know, he's tremendously confident. And you know, I think when all is said is. Through the entire press conference, the person who held his composure probably well was Phil, because you know a lot of the innuendo was, you know, targeted towards Phil.
He didn't like what Sean Roden said about him, that he had a terrible front double bicep.
Well, I mean, that's what Sean did say about him, and you know, I just don't think that, you know, I think there should be a line drawn between an event that's meant to, you know, promote the show and social media. Right. You are making the mistake as the host to allow social media to dictate the press conference, because we didn't find out anything new at the press conference. Right. We don't even know how Ramy trained for the show. We don't know how anyone prepped for the show. We weren't asked a question of, you know, how is your condition here versus, let's say, the Arnold Cedric where you didn't look good, or you know, or the Toronto where Cedric didn't look good. What adjustments did you make? You know, we're not. It's like we're here to, you know, shoot arrows in people's back, and I think it's bad for the sport.
So you think it's turned into a trash talk?
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have known more about the extra competitors and how they feel they're looking, maybe what they did differently this year to bring up their weaknesses or something like that. I do think that, you know, I know they made fun of the gesture, like what Ramy's done, or we heard this year after year about Ramy. I mean,
I don't know anything about Ramy. That's the person I wanted to know the most about, because he doesn't post anything.
I know. So
you've seen him. What does he look like?
I think it looks incredible. I mean, I think his overall body fat is distributed way better all over his body than it have been in the years past.
There's not supposed to be any body fat distributed.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you got to have some traces of body. You got to have some, or you probably close to death. But yeah, I've seen. I was really impressed when I seen him. Like I say, his glutes was in a lot earlier than before. and that's always been a situation. His whole backside has never really matched his front as far as body fat.
I heard he's 210 pounds, 310 pounds. Is that true?
He was 315 when I was out there.
Is that bad, Chris? Is that a bad thing?
Here's the thing, but his stomach is not bulging. He's a big person. He's the whitest person you've seen. You've seen a lot of big guys.
Yeah.
He's the whitest person you've ever seen. So, I mean, when he hits that front lat spread, I think it'll be dangerous for anybody. Anybody's ever done a lat spread. I haven't seen anyone like that. Dorian, Ronnie, nobody's had a front lat spread like that. And I think that's a cornerstone of his physique, and it's going to make a strong statement.
You've said that Rami over 300 pounds is not a good Rami, and that usually that's a mistake to put Rami over 300 pounds. Do you still stick by that? If Chris is saying he's 315 now, obviously we're going to see a bigger than we're going to see a bigger than 300 pound Rami.
I think what's important is everyone's got to play up their own strengths. You know, what we know here is Phil's playing nobody's game but his own. Dexter's playing nobody's game but his own. Yeah. And you know, with where you know, to answer that question, where they're going to hold Rami quote accountable is they want to see a Phil-like condition. And that is something that, for everyone up there on the stage, including Dexter, is hard to achieve. Yeah. So, you know, they're not sometimes judging Rami against Rami or his strengths. You know what I mean? They're holding him. We want to see a condition of which we've never seen on anyone. Yeah. You know,
very true. You know, and what I think the theme of the press conference, like you said, was it's become the social media press conference, and whether you like it or you don't like it. You know, I think the bottom line is that the audiences out there, the people on social media expect to hear what these gripes are between these competitors, and they want to hear them aired out here at the press conference. But what I think you didn't like is the fact that it started to get a little too personal, and then at the end, Dwayne Kamina got up and was like really insulting, Derek Lunsford. I think it gets to the point of you have to know where to draw the line.
He had the invitation to get up because the theme was so into the gutter that it encouraged that. I mean, if it was a press conference, I'm not saying you need a press conference run exclusively along the theme of Jose Raymond. I respect all my competitors. I've been working hard for 26 years. You know, you might need some way to spice it up, but there's a fine line. There's not a fine line. There should be a line drawn, and that's not the responsibility of the athlete. It's the responsibility of how it's being run. And I think if you go back and look at the video, you know, it gets long, it gets boring, it gets old, and it gets, hurtful to the sport. I
thought it was a little long.
Yeah, it could have, like I said, being more technically put. I would like to know more about it. Instead of that, I don't know the personal battles between the physique guys. I don't even know. I didn't really listen to that, so I don't really know. But I think I would have liked to know more. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to find out a lot more tomorrow night up on that prejudging stage. For now, though, I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Cormier and Chris, the technician Aceto, for RxMuscle.com.